Hey, good morning. And there's probably a few sore heads out this morning because they'll all have been out at the business show. Hey, big news, big news. Not the book, not the book. I've got landscape now for Facebook Live, which is absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, I don't know if there's. I'm just gonna sit here for a minute and ponder until people join. But people probably might not even join because they'll all be busy this morning at the business show in London. I've not gone to the business show in London because they sort of collided with a few other things that I've got going on this week. And yesterday, I went to a manufacturing expo in Derby, and I should have been going to the business expo today, but unfortunately, I decided I couldn't go because we're really busy at the minute within our business. Anyway, got one viewer now, so I'll start. So what I wanted to do, I don't read very many books. I don't read many books at all because I'm dyslexic and I don't find reading books enjoyable. Find it a bit of a waste of time unless it's something I want to read. So there's two books. Right, I'll find the other ones here. There's two books I've read this year and I had to read them and I had to read them both fast. That's the first one, Instant Networking by Stefan Thomas. If you've not read it, get it. Brilliant, yeah? If you're networking, you must be networking. And then I ordered this one. Now what? And like I say, I'm dyslexic and I don't get a lot of enjoyment, but I got this book came through my letterbox at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon when I came back from a show, and I thought I'd start reading it, and I've read it by 7:45 this morning. I couldn't put it down. I actually would have finished it last night, but we had to go and work in the studio. Hi, Brad. Brad, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but the last bit is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I just wanted to do a quick review on it. I mean, I said it before in a text message, not text message, a message on here, that the best way of describing this book is if you're into Star Wars, it's like comparing the first Star Wars you ever went to watch back in 1977 or whatever it was to the new one, the latest one that's been out, because that film nods to the old one and some of the comments and some of the bits, and a few people just copied the first one. No, they didn't. What they did, they took the first one and made it even better, and they evolved it and they made it into a more modern version of the previous one. Now the thing is, you're not going to pick this book and it's going to be something completely different from Brad because it's Brad's book. So people might read and go, oh yes, and he does mention that and start saying the same old. Well, yeah, there's some of the same old. Well, guess what? Because it's Brad's book, and it's not going to be about someone else. It's not going to be about Lord Lucan, is it, or Prince Charles? It's about Brad, and I think it's a genius book, Brad, in what you've done and the messages in there. Because there's a bit in here about going on full bore and what's important in life. And the reason why I like you, Brad, and why I like your book and why I like the stuff you do is because I think we've gone down very different paths, but very similar paths, and it resonates with me. And I think that's why you resonate with a lot of people, because everyone's got a little bit of a Brad in them, and it's great. Good morning, Jill. Yeah, and so I had a bit of a revelation a few years ago. We finished corporate life, and our aim was let's get the money, let's get the money, let's get the money. So me and Sandra both had contracts, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant to the point that we was earning. Probably in a couple of months more than I'd earned in a year's salary between us. It was great, but it wasn't great because what was happening is I was paying for a dog walker, I was paying for someone to clean the house, I was paying for someone to look after our son, and one of my contracts come to an end and we went, this is absolutely nutty. We've got more money than we've ever had in our lives, and someone's looking after our son. So at that point, probably about similar age to you, Brad, we went, this is crazy. So that's why I don't take any permanent contracts on 5-day-a-week contracts, and that's why I go networking. I go networking because it gets me out of the house, gets me meeting other people, and expands what I'm doing. So I recommend to anybody, and I'm dyslexic, I don't read books. I recommend to anyone, get the book, but don't just read it over a few weeks. Yeah, don't just read it over a few weeks. Like a series. Fucking binge read it. Binge read it like you would the latest thing that comes out. Binge read it till you get to the end. Yeah, your story. Yeah, honestly, Brad, it's yeah, I had there's a couple of bits in here. Getting upset. Now, look, I had a bit of a thing this week where I've been looking at what everyone's doing and what I've been doing, and I'm like, what the fuck's this all about? Look at what they're doing, look what I'm doing. And it was sending me, and it says it in here, I was sending me mental. And to the point earlier on in the week, I was like, now what? Now what? Now what? What should I do now? What should I do now? And you know what? I thought, I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about my message. 10 times to get the flow right. Yeah. And tell you what, Brad, it flows. I just couldn't stop. Page, I thought, I'll only read another page. I'll just read these next 2 pages and I'll put it down. And I was like, I just need to read the next 2 pages. I'll put it down. I've just got to read the next 2 pages. I mean, I was what? This morning, I got up to make a coffee and I'm like this with a kettle. Just overflowed the tea. I couldn't put it down. Different people pass. Yeah, it is, Jill. Honestly, if you've not bought it, and I'm not saying it, hey, I'm not saying it because he needs the money, because he doesn't. Buy it. Just buy it and read it. It's brilliant. And what I really like what you've done in here, what Brad's done with this, is the way he's taken. I love the layout. I love the layout and the big statements. Absolutely brilliant. I love that. And I really like the way that you flip back and forward to some messages and bring them back again, and they come back again. And what I also like is the use of some of the key people in here, that the Crosleys in here and the Ian Dickinsons, real true mentors that if people haven't met, need to met or need to go investigate, because not everybody watching this will have met them or understand them. I'm the first person they finished it, so thanks much. Honestly, Brad, I couldn't put it down. And like I said in the message before, I genuinely got to the last page, and I don't really like say right reading books. I got to the last page and I was pretty gutted. I was gutted it was all over, and I was gutted that it ended. But then it hadn't ended, because it's staring me right in the face. And I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but those all the way through it is some of the stories I've heard you tell before, some of the stories I've never heard you tell before, a bit more detail about when you imploded and the wolves were after you and they're out to get you, and absolutely, yeah. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to talk about any of it because it'll ruin it for anyone. Here's a good one. As long as you can live the downside of any decision, you should go for it. That's brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant. Some fights are worth having, some are not. Oh, awesome. Brad, 10 out of 10 out of 10. Absolutely wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so I don't really want to talk too much about what's in the book, because if you've ever seen Brad talk, if you've ever seen any of his presentations, there's bits of that in there, and you'll go, oh yeah, I've heard that before, but you need to hear it because it's in context with what he's done and where he's been, and to have come from where he's come from, a bit like myself, and to where he's ended up. I mean, it's bonkers. I would never have expected to be doing what I'm doing now. I mean, on Saturday morning, I'm going and speaking at the BBC in Coventry. I mean, and they've been listening to my podcast, so I get you 100%, Brad. I'm not going to say 110% because there's no such thing. I'm made up. D is with me now and just got goosebumps. Oh, yeah. Honestly, mate. I now what? Watch your space. Now what? Yeah. There's a few analogies in here that you've used. And I'm not going to talk about, but there's one about scratch cards, and I say almost like a PlayStation mentality, because too many people think that there's a cheat, and they've been brought up on the cheat mentality where I'll get that cheat and off we go. It's a life changer, mate. Yeah, and they get to the point where what's the next cheat? But it's fucking meaningless, because, and I used to say to my lad who's like 19, I used to say to him, you've cheated through that game. What's the frigging point you playing a frigging game? What is the point of playing that game if you're cheating right to the end? It doesn't make sense to me. I just don't get it. If you've not had the struggles or the, when you're playing, I'm trying to think of the name, Mario or whatever, and you're freaking going along and you can get squashed and all the rest of it, and you go on and you end up at the same place and you fucking go on and go on. What is the point if you can press a button and go back right to the fucking end? You've not learned anything, have you? Great chat. Yeah, Cros, it's you, and you're in here, Cros, aren't you? Obviously, and there's some great stuff from you in here. Love it. Ian Dickinson, Steve the Barman's bit. yeah, I could talk about it and talk about it. And like I said, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but go and get it. And life is more than just the money. I mean, yeah, it's. I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing, and I've questioned this week where I was going, and this, yeah, it resonates. It resonates. It really resonates. Really resonates with me. What you've done, where you've been, what you're saying here. Yeah, it really resonates. So, the dyslexic butcher from Salford has read this in less than a day. You can read it. Read it, read it, read it. You've got to read it, read it. Buy it for someone else. Buy it for someone else and give it to them, because it's probably the best 13 quid you've spent. Yeah. It's available in all major bookstores and on Amazon as well. You'll also find out more work. Yeah, hey, Cross, I can't wait to come on your workshop. I really do. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really great. Yeah, it's good. It's definitely in the diary and definitely what I'm looking forward to. Crossroads in our lives. Brad's just put on here, this is for the book for people at crossroads in life, and it definitely is. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, Brad, and I think when you've hit some of your realization is there and there, yeah, is where you've hit some of the realizations, probably some of the sort of time that we hit some of our realizations. But I've been in turmoil for the last 12 months because I've been running like an absolute nutcase to get to somewhere. And this week I was like, I've had enough of this. To be honest with you, Brad, I nearly gave up this week. I was actually saying to someone, I've had enough. This is pointless. And then a few things have happened, and then I read this book and I'm like, no, it's not pointless. It's not pointless. And then I get a phone call from the BBC. No, it's not pointless. I chase them. I've tried to get on all sorts of shows and I've been like a nutter banging on doors. And now they don't want to know. So I started my own show. And not really the intent to getting on the BBC, to start my own show to get my message out there, because inside I've got this passion, this drive to get to somewhere and do something. And a lot of people have been saying to me, oh, why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense. Well, it does to me. It makes absolutely perfect sense to me what I'm doing. I'm not worrying about paying the bills at the minute. I'm not worrying about food's on the table. So why not focus my energy in something that's meaningful, which is like what I do, like yourself, look after my family. I'm going to take my dog for a walk in a minute because he needs it. And I'm trying to help other people with my message, and that's what you're doing here. And I think it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Jackie says, nice one, push it. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. This. I needed this. You create your platform because no one was ever going to give it to you until you made your own. I know, Brad. You know what happened with the radio show, and I know this is about you and it's not about me, but this is, I think, what people need to understand. I wanted to be somewhere and get somewhere, and I think at some point I was trying to get from A to C without doing the B bit, and realised no, I've got to do the B bit, and so. And I've tried to get on things and do things, and you cover a lot of stuff in here and try to do shows and what have you. And I thought, no, bollocks to it. That no one wants me, so I'll go and create my own space. I'll go and do my own thing. And you know what? I can be on every week and do my own thing. And that's what I've done. I think that's what you did. You've done. No, it's all about you. It's about everyone else. No, it's about you. It's about everyone else. Yeah, so I created my own. And that's what I think you did. That you've obviously done that with 4N. You've seen something that you didn't like and wanted to change things, and created 4N and created what you're doing now with Speaker Seeker and all the other things you're doing. And that's why I thought, well, no, they're not listening to me. So I'll do my own thing, and let's see how it goes. And like I said earlier on, if I only affect one person in some of the messages that I get out there, it stops one person. Create, not competitive, says Gary Dwyer. Brilliant. Yeah, I forgot what I just said then. That's my brain. That's my dyslexic brain that gets going. Yeah, that's it. If I can only affect one person with what I'm doing, then the job done. I mean, I'm talking a bit like this book. I'm talking to me like 2010 when I was in a job that I freaking hated. I could have done with this in 2010, and that's what I'm trying to do as well as what you've done, Brad. I think it's a monster book. So you've got to read it. I'm looking forward to the film. Oh, here's Jamie Denny's here now. He's smashing all his stuff at the minute, isn't he? Hey? He could drive you insane looking at what he's doing, like what it says in here. But create your own space. So I don't know if anyone wants to do it. You can only do it yourself. So Jackie, Fletcher, Jackie Chappell, Jackie Costello. You can only do it yourself, and B is imperative. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, he'd drive you up the side. I mean, a lot of that's the thing, Brad. You say it in here about watching other people, and I did say it before. People can look at yourself and look at people like Jamie and go, "Oh, I want to be like that, and I want to do that," and and it drives you absolutely insane to try and get to that point where it's absolutely pointless because it's not going to happen, is it? It might happen for a few people. So be happy where you are now and be happy in what you're doing. So. Jackie Costello, no, A to C. I said A to B, A to C. I'm going to leave it there, I think, but I'd be interested to see what other people say. I'm waiting for all the naysayers to come out saying it's the biggest load of shit I've ever read, and it's the same old bollocks as always before. Because what a load of bollocks! It's not the same old bollocks. If someone writes a book, this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well done, sir. Well done. Well done. Go smash it today at the business show. Sorry I can't be there, but unfortunately, now what? I'm doing my own now what? I'm doing my own thing. I've got things to do. I've got my family to look after. Got my dog to walk. Got business to look after. So that's my now what. So unfortunately I can't be there. What was your favourite bit without giving? The last bit, Brad. Well, there's loads of them, but the last bit. Definitely last bit, and like I said before, people don't go to the last bit, because if you go to the last bit without reading the rest of it, it'll make no fucking sense to you. So I'd say the last bit, mate. The last bit to me nails it. Absolutely nails it. I can't really pick much out to say there's. I think the best bit for me, Brad, and the biggest message for me was what I've just mentioned before, is the social media and looking what everybody else is doing and think and try to do what they're doing, because what it does, it drives you insane. Absolutely drives you bonkers. That's probably one of the biggest things. But everyone's going to read this and find their own little bit that resonates with them. But all of it, right from start to finish, I'm gutted I've read it, because I want to read it again, and I might actually read it again because I think it's a good book. So well done, sir. Yeah, you can receive, Brad. You can see where you've evolved and where you've actually grown up in this book, in what you've done, and the way you've written it. The way you write it is, for me anyway. I'm not a book critic. I'm fucking dyslexic, but for me, it's dead easy to read. Really easy to read. It's entertaining. There's some funny shit in there. When you refer to someone as Dick and things like that, there's some really good stuff in it. Really good. I mean, this bit, there's a bit about lighting and spending money on loads of crap that you don't need. Got the Now What seminar, John. Jesus Christ, it's got a seminar as well now. When's the film coming out? In the series, a fucking seminar, right? Has anyone got any questions? But I'm not going to tell you about the book, because you need to buy it yourself. Now what? Brilliant. Brad, well done, man. Well done. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well done.